Welcome back, YouTube. And for those who are new here, hello. My name is Noah, and on my page we talk about death, true crimes, haunted people, places, and things, spiritual reparations, and how you can fuck around and find out. If you are not subscribed here, subscribe now. Make sure all of your notification bells are turned on. And if you are on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, go ahead and give me a follow there. On today's episode, we will be covering a highly requested topic about a mythical creature who is probably about this high, and that's really an overstretch. And I'm talking about duendes. What are duendes anyway? Gnomes, goblins, Keebler elf, if you will. And the term duende literally translates to like a gnome or a goblin. This term is used in Latin America, Spain, Ecuador, some parts of Asia, such as the Philippines. It literally is a little miscreant that likes to hide in trees and interact with kids mainly, but sometimes the grown-ups see them too. And we're going to be watching some TikToks of supposed duende sightings. And before I even go any further, I want you guys to leave where you're from, where you're watching from, the state and the country, please. I'm trying to see something. So drop down below where you're from. And as always, all the creators are going to be linked down in the description. Make sure you are showing support to my fellow creators. Even if it's not a follow, at least go and like the video, please. Also, some of these videos may be in Spanish. I do not speak Spanish. I took it for 3 years in high school and only know how to say taco and gracias. So just bear with me. Anybody that would love to put whatever videos are in Spanish, some of the translation in the comments, I greatly appreciate you. This first video comes from an account called Untold Urbans, and it is basically an AI generated kind of video about duendes. And this is how they say they actually look, but just listen to what the belief behind duendes is.
If I ask you for help, you should run away immediately. Hello, my name is John. I am one of the duendes. We sneak around the forests of the United States and Mexico, asking people to hang out with us or play music for us. If you say yes, we can make multiple years go by in what feels like an hour to you. When we play our music, you will be brought into a trance without realizing it. When you return to your normal life, years will have passed for others, but it will feel like an hour to you. People who decide to help us will be cursed for eternity. Your life will flip upside down and nothing will ever be the same. We are the souls of tortured children who were never born. Our mothers decided that we were not worth being alive. Some of us are not so friendly and will beat you or torture you until we get what we need from you. If you want to say hello to us, it is your choice, but always be sure to remember
that AI generated photo or whatever the hell that was is pretty creepy, but certain groups of people have different beliefs about duendes and what they do. Some people do believe that they are the tortured souls of children never born, and then others believe that they're just mythical creatures who like to get you tied up where you cannot leave. All right, so it's up to you. If you've ever heard of duendes, please comment down below what you believe the duendes do. This next video comes from an account and the name is in Spanish, and I'm so sorry if I'm finna butcher this. I tell you, I can only say taco and gracias, but it's Telefe Noticias, and this page is showing a duende in a very common place that they are spotted in. I don't know what that was. Okay, some people are like, it kind of looks like a bat, but the first face, it looked like a gnome with an old man's face. I don't know. What do you guys think is in this tree trunk? Comment down below, please. This next video comes from a page called Are You Terrified? And it's of a baby sitting on the floor and his mother, who I'm assuming, is taking a video.
Que te ayude.
baby would have been out. Okay, because that video is featured in another video we're gonna watch, and they slow it down and you can literally see its shadow. But do y'all think that was real? Let me know. This next video comes from an account called Saray Hernandez 1, and they're in a cemetery at night and they catch something on film.
Ah, no mames.
Ahí está uno, grábalo, José.
Ahí está, don Güero. Mira. Ay, Dios
No, ¿por qué no se
santo.
mueve? ¿Por qué no se mueve?
Ahí está, lo están utilizando para hacer trabajos, mira. Esos son trabajos. Duende, ¿eras tú el que estabas conmigo ahorita? Duende, elfo, ¿eras tú el que estabas ahorita cerca de mí?
¡Ay, ay!
Ay, Dios.
Ay.
Aguas.
¡No mames!
Elfo,
Se está moviendo.
¿es a ti el que te tenían aquí? Si es a ti, Elfo, está triste, miren su cara, está triste, está
¡Se
cansado.
movió!
Este duende está cansado.
Mira.
Míralo. Estás cansado, ¿verdad?
Ya no puedes.
Estás agotado, ya no tienes más fuerzas de seguir aquí en el cementerio. Ya no tienes más energía para seguir aquí, duende. ¿Quieres que te ayude? Mira, y está lleno de trabajos. Míralo, está lleno de trabajos este pequeño.
Tiene muchas
Mira.
Quiere correr.
Quieres irte,
correr,
¿verdad?
correr.
Quiere levantarse otra vez.
Quiere levantarse.
¿Quieres levantarte de nuevo, pequeño? Mira, y son puros trabajos. Es que los duendes también los agarran y los dejan aquí en los cementerios para hacer trabajos, para hacer...
Mira.
Mira, y está todo.
Okay, so I have heard of these beings being a little bit bigger than, you know, an inch or two or whatever, a couple inches tall. And I looked at the video over and over again and I noticed that its nose kind of shifted and it's like trying to keep its face out of the camera. Is this just a prop? What do y'all think? This next clip is of a young girl dancing and it comes from an account called YouTube_NickVR. If I can find this YouTube page, I will tag it in the description, but just look. Well, if it was a real duende, she stepped on his little ass. He's a duende. He does not exist anymore. This next video is a video clip, and it's from a Mexican news station. And if I'm not mistaken, correct me, my Mexican brothers and sisters, it's on Telemundo. But it is reporting a duende sighting.
Duende caught on video.
Su novia. En su tour mostraba la sala, las habitaciones, la cocina y hasta el patio.
On Duende and video.
Que su cámara captara algo extraño moviéndose en la rama de este árbol. Una silueta casi transparente, pero de color naranja que aparece de forma espontánea y camina sobre la rama.
Now, if the news is reporting it, I gotta say there's some truth in these little creatures. We also thought that aliens weren't real and they were literally hanging out in the backyards here in Las Vegas. It was on our news. So, what do y'all think? Is that real or are we looking too much into it? This next clip comes from a very popular podcast and it's the unnoticed.pc podcast. And I'm going to try to find the link to tag them to their YouTube page and to the actual Spotify link if there's one. But they had a guest on that actually seen a duende.
You guys believe in duendes?
Hell yeah,
Yeah,
bro.
What?
I seen one. It was fucking weird, bro. I remember it was at this house that we live in right now too, and there's two glass sliding doors, and I remember the one on the right, it was open, and he moved in and he started waving down to like get my attention, like teasing me. As soon as I looked that way, it moves out the way. I couldn't tell what he was wearing, but I remember it was like small and it had like a red hat, and I was like, well, what the fuck was that? I thought I was tripping. I'm like, you know, I'm just gonna ignore it. I go back to eating, and again it happened, and he does the same thing. I get up, I open the door, and nothing was there. And it happened like I could you not 4 or 3 times until like I got up, I closed the door, I took my cereal, I threw it away, and I was like, man, I'm gonna go to bed. Fuck this guy.
Recently, my godmother, she told me a story. When she was 7 years old, she was out in the front playing with her like siblings and stuff. Out of nowhere, she hears like giggling, and she doesn't know where it's coming from. And then she turns around, and then she sees 4 duendes, but they're like dancing and laughing, but like they're in the formation of, you know how like when they're holding up a coffin, like 2 people in the front, 2 people in the back. They were in that formation. They were holding a little coffin, and the way she described them, like they were wearing a big ass sombrero, big ears, the big nose and stuff, like the typical duende description or whatever. And then her mom turns pale, and she thought she was tripping because she saw the exact same thing too.
I know in the San Bernardino area, where like near Cal State, San Bernardino, it's like a mountain area.
Going up to Lake Arrowhead.
That's where like people still live up there, saying that there's duendes roaming around that area.
Actually,
Everybody ain't lying, okay? Everybody's not lying. And I'm inclined to believe that these little creatures just like to play with you, play in your face. I would have closed the door and threw my food away too, because who you waving at? You not waving at me, bro. We do not know each other. This next video comes from Mr. Dark 813, and it tells about an urban legend of a man picking mushrooms in Oaxaca. Listen.
What are duendes? Deep in Mexican folklore, duendes are commonly spoken about, from tales that involve these small creatures giving gold coins to people in exchange for goods. But there are also old tales involving a more sinister ending. In 1931, a young man in his 20s named Sancho was out mushroom picking deep within the Oaxaca rainforest when suddenly he finds himself face to face with a small-sized village. It is then apparent to him that there are hundreds of these duende beings. They spoke to him as a friend, cracking jokes with him, giving him alcohol and gold coins. When Sancho decided it was time to go, he realized that he had lost a significant amount of time. When he got back to his village, nothing was the same. In fact, he did not recognize anyone. Upon further inspection, he realized he had been missing for 76 years. His last memories were of these duende creatures putting him in a trance and pressuring him inside a portal.
I'm sorry, but Sancho fucked around and found out. There's no way that I see a village of tiny, tiny people and I'm finna sit there and commune with them. No, I'm gonna act like I didn't see it and keep walking, because I don't want no smoke. Poor Sancho. This next clip is in the middle of what looks like the jungle or woods, and it is of a man trying to unalive a duende. I don't know what that was in between the rocks, but I do know an angry mob in any language, and they were not playing with whatever that was. And I don't see them acting crazy over a frog or a fish. I don't know what the video was before this, but they seen something that truly needed to be destroyed in their head. This next creator we have featured on our channel before. She goes under the handle Tati's Creepy Stories, and she is reciting a story that was sent to her about the time someone came ear to ear, not face to face, I mean they did, with a Tataduende.
I have a Tataduende story time. In case you don't know what a Tataduende is a small man that lives in the jungle. His sole purpose is to protect the jungle and all of the animals that live within the jungle. But he is also known to lure children and adults into the jungle. If you follow him along, you are usually never heard from again. Now, story time. This was submitted by Javier. I went ahead and tagged him down below. This story actually only took place a couple months ago. So one night, Javier is sitting at home and he starts to hear whistling coming from outside. He decides to go out there and investigate, but doesn't see anything, so he goes right back into his house. As the night goes on, he's laying in bed just scrolling through TikTok when he starts to hear the whistling once again. He gathers all of the courage that he has and opens his window, but when he looks out there, he again does not see anything, so he shuts everything off and goes to bed. In the middle of the night, he ends up waking up to go get a glass of water. When he's up, he then realizes that he can now hear the whistling once again. He goes and looks out the window, but this time he sees a man, a very small man, standing there with a really big red hat and backwards feet. Javier runs, hides, and starts to pray. Soon after, he doesn't hear the whistling anymore, and he figures that he's in the clear. The next day, he does some research and finds out what that thing was, and he realizes that it was a Tataduende. Not long after, Javier came down with a really bad fever and almost didn't live to tell this story. So if you happen to be at home and hear any whistling of any type, ignore it.
Okay, let me tell y'all. Let me put y'all up on game. If you ever hear something weird outside of your house, ignore it. Okay, such as whistling, crying. Okay, because I have had wailing from a woman outside of my window. And I looked out and I didn't see anything. It was too dark, but it was like wailing. And you know what I did? I called 911. Because I'm not going outside to like investigate nothing. I can't help you, sis, but the police can. And even whenever the police came, I was reluctant to open my door because whenever you are dealing with the spiritual realm, spiritual creatures, opening your door is the worst thing that you can do. The next clip comes from a creator that we also featured on our channel before, and she goes by the handle Letty Loves You, and she talks about the time she snuck out of the house and seen something.
My first and only encounter with a duende, and I hope it stays that way. It was midnight, and my friends have been texting me, asking me to come out with them. I was stuck between should I wake up my mom and ask her if I can go, or should I just go and she wouldn't even know because I'd be back home before she woke up. I snuck out the house. Yes, I did. So it was both of my friends in the front, and I was in the back seat. This is exactly where it happened, but of course it was nighttime. I can't tell you what street this is because my friend's family still lives here, but it's in San Benito, Texas. So we're cruising down the street up till right there. Now this is not my friend's car, but it just so happened to be in the same spot we were in. When all of a sudden, I see a little person turn into a dog and then cross the street this way. Now, if I had just seen it by myself, I could have just lied to myself and said, nah, that is not what I saw. Fuck that, it's a hallucination. I don't know what the fuck that was. But I couldn't lie to myself because at that exact moment, all three of us sighed at the exact same time. Like that. When we all sighed, my friend that was driving hit the brakes. And he was like, what was that? And my other friend that was in the passenger seat was like, wait, don't say anything. He was like, in the count of 3, we all say what we saw. I was freaking out. Freaking the fuck out. 3, 2, 1. We all said a little person turning into a dog. And it wasn't like a little kid. It didn't look like a little kid. It looked bulky and little. This is the best way to show you what I saw. No, I'm not gonna lie and say, oh my god, I saw that big ass hand, because I did not. But this silhouette, this shape, this is what I saw turn into a dog. Almost like it got caught and it had to like hide, pretend to be a dog. Moral of the story, don't sneak out because you will see a duende and die. Just kidding, but yeah, no, I never sneaked out after that because lesson learned. Do not go out without your parents' permission.
Not duendes being shapeshifters as well. I don't know what she saw, but it wasn't just her. Okay, so we have to take these kind of things into consideration. They like to be out late at night, and I guess they take evening strolls, but I hope I don't run into one either, Letty. I'm cool. I don't want to fuck around and find out. This next creator goes under the handle as Spooky Tales, and she is talking about a case that reminded her of another case that involved a man going missing. Just listen.
The story of the 4 indigenous children that went missing for 40 days in the Amazon and were amazingly, luckily found reminds me of another story. Specifically because the grandma of these children said that she believed they weren't found right away because a duende had them. In 2017, Michael Coroseo Acuña went missing for 9 days in the Amazon in Bolivia, this national park. He was part of a tour group, and before going out into the rainforest, this tour group always did a ritual the night before. And this ritual was done to give thanks to Pachamama, Mother Earth. Michael Acuña was the only member of this tour group to not participate in the ritual. So the tour group owner thinks that he went missing because he offended Pachamama, and she sent her duende to capture him. And they even brought in spiritual indigenous leaders to help find Michael. And they kept finding his belongings like nearby, but there was no trace of him. And it wasn't until day 9 that he was found a mile away, like at the top of a hill, screaming for help. And these curanderos would tell the searchers, like, he's in a far away place and he can't be reached. After Michael was found and he spoke to journalists, he said, like, he began to lose his mind at one point. He didn't know where he was, and he blamed the duende himself. But later he would go on to say he doesn't believe in any of that stuff, and he believes God helped find him. But the owner of the tour group maintains that Michael went missing because he offended Pachamama and was only found because of the curanderos.
You know, I plan on doing retreats for my followers and subscribers. Be on the lookout because it's coming soon. And even though some of these destinations that I want to go to does involve you going into the jungle, we will be extremely safe and with a tour guide. None of us are getting left behind. No beehive, that's what they be calling me on Patreon. No beehive left behind. Because there's no way that you had to bring in indigenous spiritual leaders to find this man. And this was not a spiritual thing. This next clip comes from what I believe is the Jumpers podcast. I'm going to have to look it up. I think it's called Jumpers Jump Podcast. I follow them and I've gone through my entire follow list and I just cannot seem to find them. But another creator is stitching them, and I'm going to link both creators if possible. But this man is telling us about a relative in the Philippines who had a special but toxic bond with duendes.
There's a relative in my family. They say that he used to talk to duende. When he was a kid, he used to talk to duende. Bro, this is sad. RIP to the relative, no disrespect. There was like a tree in their house, in their backyard. He would always leave the house to just talk around the tree and talk to duende. The parents would see him talking to nobody. They wouldn't see anything, right? The sad thing is, eventually he had to move away when he was older. Okay. He went to like another part of the Philippines. But when he moved away, he got really sick. This is from what someone's telling me the story. Yeah. The reason he got sick was because they didn't want him to leave. Yo, this is sad. Supposedly, when he was getting sick and when he was on his way to passing away, not only did he get sick, but he never grew. He stayed the same height as when he was a kid. Wow. So you can imagine duendes are short. Wait. Duendes are short, right? Yeah. He was friends with the duende and he stopped growing. Now check this out. When he was passing away, no disrespect. This is what my relative was saying, but he started to...
I've heard that too. They will make you sick. They will cause illness if you stop communicating with them. So y'all be careful out in these tree streets with these duendes, okay? Because once you cut off communication, they try to cut you off. Like cut you off. This next video comes from a creator called Cosmic Miggy, and he is basically stitching another creator that I have no idea where this video came from, but it is of a man in the Philippines that accidentally caught a duende on camera.
So this clip went viral last year in the Philippines, and supposedly someone took a picture and there was a gnome, a duende in the background.
It's just a simple picture. Wala lang talaga, yung parang kinuhanan ko lang talaga. And then on the next day, Monday, tinatry ko zoom. Actually, tinatry ko zoom. And then hanggang may na-notice ako dun sa sa puno ng dalawang saging. Meron isang image na hindi ko ma-explain actually.
What do you guys think? Is this real or is it hoax? Could this be CGI? Is this person telling the truth? Is this actual evidence of a gnome, of a duende in the Philippines?
Okay, confession. I am shook because I went to the Philippines for 3 weeks. Okay, and I stayed in Los Baños on a volcano in the middle of the damn woods. Okay, I seen chickens. I seen big ass lizards. I did not see a duende, and I was all up and through them woods. Okay, so, and I'm kind of grateful that I didn't, but it just shocked me that this is a part of their culture as well, and they have the same issues as Spanish-speaking countries, Latin countries, because baby, that man was on, I don't even know where he was at. I'm looking at it right now. And I'm like, what the hell? Why is he that clear? He wanted to be in that shot. This next creator goes by the handle of Dances with Werewolves, and it is a compilation of Duende sightings. And just look and y'all let me know what you think is real and what you think is fake.
After my first video on duendes circulated literally around the world, many of you told me your personal experiences with them. I have now come to understand that the belief in duendes spans across the globe. There have been reported sightings of them in almost every country and every culture. Some common characteristics of these creatures are that they are about 2 feet tall but extremely strong, and they can run super fast. They reveal themselves most often to children, but sometimes when adults see something in the corner of their eye, they are to blame. They can be male or female, and most often they wear no clothes or a scrap of fabric. They are very territorial, so if they take up residence in your home, it's best to let them be. Trying to remove them always ends badly.
Duendes caught on camera.
The fact that somebody caught one of these and put it in a box, it's beyond me. Why would we ever do that? Why are we trying to fuck around and find out? But her original video got 10 million views, and it's full of people saying these things are absolutely real. I pray I never run up on one of them. Please, Lord, keep me safe. This next clip is from an account that is basically recycling content from the other creator. I'm not sure of the handle. I just literally told y'all the handle and I cannot remember. But they are talking about a urban legend about a time a man entertained duendes.
Never heard of this, so let me hear it. It's a Mexican urban legend about duendes. It's this story. It took place in Michoacan. There was this musician, right? He was with his band or whatever. They were playing, right? He ended up going home, but he had to go through a little shortcut. So he would go into the woods. And he saw these duendes dancing. And they looked at him and they saw him and they were like, yo, you, come. Play for us and we'll give you a bunch of gold. Because they saw that he had an instrument on him. He's like, I bet, whatever. He started playing. When they finished, they gave him the gold. He was going back to his house. He knocked on the door and his wife literally looked at him like, what the f***? Like in shock. You look different? She was like, yo, I thought you were dead. You've been gone for so long. Where have you been? Where have you been all these years? She had kids with his best friend. Like, they were big and stuff. It's like, I was only gone for an hour. Like, I was with these duendes and I was playing for them. What are you talking about? They gave me all this gold. And then they're like, what gold? Those are a bunch of pesos. They're not even real gold coins. He's like, fuck, bro. So like, time for duendes are like different than human time. So like,
baby, if I would have lost my spouse and they had kids with my best friend all over these duendes, and then they tricked me and gave me pesos instead of the gold coins that they promised me, I'm going back and I'm being asses, and that's it. But this is just a cautionary tale of whenever you or if you cross these creatures, keep it moving, bruh. Don't do no favors. They're like fairies, which I'm gonna do a video on that too. Do not, I repeat, do not entertain these little creatures. Act like you didn't even see them. These next clips come from an account called The Horror Network, and they are showing a compilation of duendes.
No. Vamos a alumbrar qué es, no, Juan. Un niño, es como un niño llorando, como un niño llorando. Niño, no, la chica. ¡Ey! ¿Qué es eso, Juan? ¿Cómo está eso, hombre? La gente siente el escalofrío. Acá están, no se dejen ver. Saben que lo voy a pillar. Acá están, gente, ya estoy sintiendo un escalofrío de vuelta, mire. Mire cómo está mi pie. Yo le doy tratar de ver el escalofrío, porque dice cuando están cerca te haga el escalofrío. Cuestión de buscar en las ramas.
Allá se me hace quitar la puta que lo parió. No sé qué esa cosa negra que hay allá, si acá se ve o no. ¿Qué mierda es eso que hay ahí? No puedo ver bien. ¿Qué es eso? ¿Qué es eso? Esa cosa negra que hay ahí. Ay, la puta que lo parió, no me diga que uno de ellos. Hay una cosa negra ahí, ¿ves? Puntiagudo. Parece como un duende. No, si él es. Ahí está. Ese está ahí. ¿Lo ven o no en el palo? No tengo buen celular.
You know, what's so crazy is that I always see, when I was researching this, I always see these black figures, like the one that almost made the man fall over into wherever he was at. They're also described as that, and then they're described as little goblins. I think it just depends on where you're from, but that was terrifying. I'd be done, because I don't know an animal that looks like that other than maybe a gorilla that crawls on all fours like that. It was weird. All in all, leave them damn duendes alone. If you see them in a tree, let them be in that tree. If you see them running across the street, let them cross. Leave them alone. I don't want y'all to fuck around and find out, because we have become, our ego is just so big, we only believe that we're here, and sorry to break it to you, babe, that's not how this works at all. God created a lot of beings, and the duende just happens to be one. That is all for today, YouTube. And if you would like me to cover a topic, a person, place, or thing, please email me. I will be leaving my email in the description of this video. And please remember to give some of these creators that you are really loving their content a follow. That means a lot to us. And until next time, y'all do good, be good, and stay safe.